Hello everybody and welcome back to another Hot Toys figure unboxing and review. Today we are looking at the Chopper from Star Wars. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not the most familiar person with Star Wars and especially this figure or character itself, so please do not flame me if I get anything wrong. But besides that, this figure was sent to me by toysassemble.com. They have some of the absolute best prices in the game, and their shipping is 3 days on average, which is absolutely unheard of with most of these Hot Toys and just figure sellers. So I'm going to leave the website right here on the screen right now. You can go check that out or click the link down in the description. But as always, make sure you're comfortable before buying and do your own research. But I do personally vouch for them. But anyway, let's get this guy off the rotating turntable and take a close look at the box very briefly, and then the figure itself. Alright, and here we have the box laid out in the light box. There is nothing too special about it. It is the pretty much exact same as Darth Sidious, just that plain black and gray aesthetic with the pictures of the actual figure itself. But we're going to take this slip cover off and see what's underneath. And of course, we do have another pretty badass display picture right here. I'm going to try my best to not leak the first peek of the figure, and there we go. And I'm actually a really big fan of these little display covers that Hot Toys has been including with all these Star Wars figures. I tend to like them more than the actual box itself. But anyway, let's get the figure out here real quick. Alright, here we have him right out of the box. First in-hand impressions are, he's lighter than I thought, and that paintwork everywhere is super nice. He does have nice little working wheels. But of course, we're going to be taking a very close look at him in just a little bit. But we're going to get all of his accessories laid out in the light box first and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Alright everybody, and this is everything that the Chopper comes with. I'm going to say right now, this guy is quite bare bones. But he is not the normal price of a Hot Toys figure. He's a little cheaper. But we're going to get right into it. And please don't yell at me if I mispronounce anything. That's just my fault, I guess. Starting off, we have a projection of, don't quote me on this, but Professor Huyang. Please just leave me be. It's a mini hologram of him that we are going to be putting on the figure himself. It's just clear sculpted plastic, but there is a fair bit of sculpting and detail on it. Then right here we have a tracking device and a holo projector, and both of these paintworks are actually very crisp, coming up nice and close. It really does look like real metal, and I'm actually really impressed with all the little details. And there's a lot of nice black paint wash to make it look a little more weathered and realistic. And the same thing goes for this one. This one's metal actually does look more convincing as it is more shiny. Then we have his center rotating leg peg right here. And it is rotatable, and the detail on this thing is so nice. It looks super weathered and crusty. Coming up right here, it looks like there's a bunch of rust and a lot of pitting all over this, and the paintwork is super great on it. Then we have two identical extended arms, and these things actually do have a fair bit of articulation on them, which I'm really happy to see because his accessories are quite bare bones, so it would be a little disappointing if these were just stuck like that. And I just dropped one. The black paintwork on them is a little wash, so there is a little bit of speckling, and we do see that same rust and pitting and wear on all of the metal pieces. Then we do get two smaller arms with very similar paintwork, and these also are articulated. And here we have two different satellites, I'm going to call them. Now these are probably the most impressive piece that I see him coming with. These seriously do just look old and grungy, and they look like they have sand and dirt everywhere all over them. The paint chipping is very convincing. But one thing I do not like is that the print on them is pretty much identical. You could see all of the same patterns right there. So I think it is a little bit lazy that Hot Toys didn't just make two different patterns. Because as you can see right there, I have all of the same scuffs and same identification markers. Like right here, right there, and the two right here. But either way, I don't think that is too big of a deal, but for the little accessories he comes with, I think it would have been nice for them to be a little more differentiated. And yeah, we are already done with all of the accessories, record timing for me, but now we're going to get the actual figure out here and take a closer look at himself. Alright everybody, and here we have this little guy out in the light box on the turntable with no special accessories or anything like that. Besides the middle wheel, he really does need that to be able to stand on his own. He really does kind of need that to stand on his own and look pretty good with it. But other than that, the actual detail work and paint work on him is phenomenal. But there definitely is a lot of problems that I see with this figure, and we're obviously going to get into that in just a little bit. But first impressions, just taking a nice quick glance at him, There is a lot of wearing and weathering all over him, and I think that looks really nice and authentic. All of the metal pieces look metal, but a little thing that I'm going to have a problem with that I'll tell you about right now, he is fully plastic. Just in the little bit I held him in my hands, I did not feel an ounce of metal, which for $245 for this little figure, very disappointed about it. But him spinning here isn't going to do much justice, so we're going to take him out and take a closer look in hand. Alright, and now for my real first in-hand impressions. I don't like this figure personally. That might sound crazy because I have him in hand, but I don't like him. I would not end up recommending this guy to you guys. But if you did want to get it, you know where to find it in the link in the description. But I'm not even a big Star Wars fan at all, so that might be a pretty big reason why I don't like him. But also, if you just listen right now, he does not sound or even feel very like premium and high quality. Like if I just squeeze him a little bit, yeah, he creaks like crazy, fully plastic, no metal anywhere to be found. There's somehow no padding on any of these, so when you rattle him, he shakes like crazy. But enough complaining about him. The detail and actual paintwork is phenomenal. We are going to take a little bit of a closer look. Coming into here, you can see a lot of paint wear and just chips and dirt and rust and a whole lot, especially on his neck right here. There's a lot of dirt and grime all up in there. We can see his little eyes or cameras, I'm assuming. A lot more rusting and paint chipping and dirt everywhere all over him. And I'm not sure what else to say about that itself. One thing I am pleased about is the actual metal textures they have. These are actually metal, I think, and you can kind of move them around and pose them just a little bit. Along with all of the paintwork. The paintwork on this guy is amazing, but if he was metal, it might drive the price up a little bit, so I don't know if it would be worth it for most people anyway. But in my opinion, that would have made it worth it for me. And it's giving it on a shelf, so it doesn't matter that much. Now, if we take out this little tool he does come with, you actually can pull out this middle arm that he has, and it is quite fully articulated, and it comes pretty stacked up, actually. But it might sound stupid that we are going to still do an articulation portion later on with the little robot guy, but of course we're going to have to. But that's about it, just for my in-hand impressions, taking a very close look at this guy, without spoiling too much about articulation, because that's a very big thing for him, I guess. But anyway, we're going to throw on all of his accessories and take a look at what that's like. Alright, I already have a major fucking complaint. I'm going to curse. I don't care anymore. Look at this. This is supposed to hold this entire thing by just sliding it in here and then closing it. But it is the most tedious thing in the world, and it just doesn't. Like, I've been sitting here for 10 minutes trying to get it to sit, and it doesn't, okay? So the day after, I was actually able to get it on there, and it took a very long time. But for the top, you do have the option to put this one or the straight up one, but I honestly like the angled one a little more. And these pieces on the side slot out just like this, and then you could put the mechanical arms into this hole just like this. And one thing, thankfully, this figure has something positive that I could say about it. They're held in with magnets, so you don't have to deal with finding a peg in a blank space. Thank you, Hot Toys. And in the promotional photos for him, they show him holding this in his arm just like that, straight up and down, but by the grace of God, you might be able to get it there for 0.5 seconds before it just slides out. Because look, it just, oh. Alright, that's actually pretty secure in there, wow. I take back that, okay? It's really a pain in the ass to do. Everything about this figure is a pain in the ass, but that did work, so I take that piece back. And one thing that is also pretty cool about this figure is you could slide this right off there, and you could actually just slide on this shorter, less articulated arm. But me personally, I am a fan of the longer, more articulated look, so I'm going to keep this one on. Alright, and here he is all suited up, and you guys are probably wondering, do I take back everything I said about this figure? No. Still not a fan of it. Feels very cheap. Everything is very finicky. Okay, it's just, I think it looks pretty cool, but just, I don't think it was executed to the best of their ability. I think they could have spent the time making a better, cooler figure in another genre, maybe, not even just Star Wars. Like, just give us comic book classic Venom already to ship him out now instead of this guy, no offense. But I am going to be doing articulation now and then figure comparisons later so I can rant while I do that. So first thing we're going to do is check the articulation on this. We can go boom. This also moves with a pivot. That also does, and you can move all of these arms, and all of them are very similar, if not the actual same. Besides these little short arms right here where this does not move at all and this only opens up. And kind of the same boat about this one. This one has a hinge right here, and these two do open. But now we're going to move on to the head. He does have a slight amount of tilt going every which way. And of course, he did go 360 degrees around. That is a big selling point for them, and this guy's just falling apart. The legs do go very far up, and I think you actually might be able to go all the way around almost. Yep. You can go all the way around with them if you take off these other accessories, but I don't really see the point. Oh, yeah, this is something. Wheel spin, though, you know. All right, and here we have him next to the brand new Darth Sidious, also from Hot Toys. He's a small little guy, and Darth Sidious is actually a pretty small figure on his own. Now, sitting on display right now, sure, he doesn't look bad at all. He looks kind of cool. But for the quality that you are getting for how much this figure costs, I think it is just not worth it. If we go on to the right, if you spend literally just a little bit more, you can get this Darth Sidious, and he is miles better. He comes with his electric fingers. He comes with multiple different blades for his lightsabers. He has a light up option. So much better, guys. If you want to get a figure, looking at these two, get the one on the right. Absolutely no doubt. All right, here we have him next to Deadpool Special Edition, and this is exactly how I'm feeling about this guy, what he is doing to this little chopper. This is how I feel. I'm sick of this figure. Sending him back. His paintwork is absolutely awesome, but he is just not worth $245, guys. Please, just be real with me. Right now, you can get this guy, which is the Avengers Endgame Thor, for $185. Maybe $200 with shipping and taxes, but why would you not rather him? Looking at these two figures, 100 million, billion, trillion %, I would rather the Thor, and I could save an extra $50 or so. And now here the chopper is compared to some of my smaller figures I have. And you know what? This isn't so bad. If I was to display him, I would do it like this, just because this is a little more fun. So my final thoughts of this guy before I end this video off. You can do a lot better. But if you do want this guy, you can go to toysassemble.com and pick him up right now. But I highly recommend you getting another figure or a different figure from them, because it will be a way better value and just a way cooler figure than this guy. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good one.